So I'm back again with Brian Lange.
Hello, everybody.
So Brian, you have been very active with A.B.A.T.E here in Washington, and for those that don't know what A.B.A.T.E stands for, can you educate us?
Yeah, A.B.A.T.E was founded in 1971 by the publisher of Easy Riders magazine. And originally it was going to be a nationwide organization, and the letters stood for a Brotherhood Against Totalitarian Enactments.
Okay.
Well, then they realized that each state was different enough that you're not going to be able to go and run a national program in 50 different states with 50 different sets of rules. So it became a state organization. And in Washington, I want to say it was 1977 when A.B.A.T.E Washington was first founded.
Wow.
And it was founded by the clubs.
Which clubs?
Outsiders for one.
Okay.
Was the prime one. There were, I believe, Olympia chapter, Tacoma chapter, Great Harbor County chapter were the three main earliest. Lewis County might have skated in there, but when they first formed, those were the first 3 or 4 chapters.
Okay.
I finally joined up as an independent in '89. Was a member for a couple of years, and then had to give up riding for 10 years because I had a brain tumor that was removed, and after that, I was having seizures all the time. And you can't ride if you don't know if you're going to be able to stand up.
Right.
So finally got that taken care of, moved up here to Morton, got back into bikes again, and finally about 8 years later, 2013, we wanted to start an A.B.A.T.E chapter up here. So we did, and within a year I ended up getting asked if I wanted to be the state legislative affairs officer. Not like the idiot I was. I said, sure, why not?
You weren't an idiot.
No, I just didn't know what was good for me, that's all.
You didn't know what you were getting involved in.
No, definitely.
I mean, you know, but I think that good intentions for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we went after some stuff, and I came in just on the tail end of Washington State becoming the first state in the nation to do a motorcycle anti-profiling law.
Oh wow. Okay.
And that was sponsored by at that time the Confederation of Clubs,
Mm-hmm.
which is now the Coalition of Clubs, and A.B.A.T.E. And I think right now there's 5 or 6 states that have a version of an anti-profiling law, so they can't just pull you over because, oh, hey, we want to talk to you about that patch in your back.
Now you had just said before we push record that you helped with 5 laws.
Yeah.
What five are those?
I can tell you 2 of them. I can't remember the other 3.
That's fine.
Yeah, the first one was, and it was the most shocking we even needed to do it, was the motorcycle parking law.
Okay.
When you park a bike on the curb, how do you park?
Back in.
Yeah, we were all taught.
Yeah.
Somebody realized about 2012 that's what the law says. So the law says both right wheels have to be within parallel and within 12 inches of the curb. So DOL took everything to do with motorcycle parking out of the motorcycle training manual and acted like it didn't exist.
Oh.
So if you backed your wheel into, and it was no big deal for quite a few years, until people started going to events in Seattle, King County, the greater King County area, and started getting $129 parking tickets for each bike that was parked, and you'd get a non-parallel parking ticket, and if you had multiple bikes in one parking spot, that was an additional ticket.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I did not know. Now you make me. Okay, go ahead. This is why I don't get into this.
That's why, we went went down there, and it took us 2 years. Took us 2 years to get that passed.
Wow.
And
Who was the idiot that came up with that? Never mind. Don't name names.
No.
Let other people research that. Don't.
But I will say this: it was the first year we got it. It passed through the House,
Right.
went to the Senate Transportation Committee, passed out of there, and then one member of the Senate Transportation Committee was on the House Rule or the Senate Rules Committee, and kept his thumb on the bill until late in the afternoon of the final day it could be voted on the floor of the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
And then he allowed it to come out of rules. Well, by the time the deadline passed, there were 2 bills in front of it still, so it didn't even get voted on. So it had to lay over for the year before, and we had to go through the same procedure all over again. We got it all done, went back in front of the Senate Transportation Committee, and they didn't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
One of their party members had dropped an identical bill with 4 weeks left in the short session.
Mm-hmm.
And said, this is the one we're gonna push. And I actually said in the hearing,
Yeah.
that's stupid. You know, why go through all the heavy lifting so you can get one victory
Mm-hmm.
when nobody else cares which party wins? As long as it happens, all you've got to do is vote on this bill like you did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Same bill, pass it out of committee, let it go to the floor. But no, couldn't do that. I had to go through the whole process. We're going, no, this isn't going to work. And it got voted on the afternoon of the last day.
Wow.
You know,
It was a win, right?
That was a win.
It just wasn't the way you had anticipated
It was
yeah.
just an example of politics.
Right.
It was just, instead of just, okay, this is already done, let's vote on it, pass it.
Did they want their name on it or something? I mean, was it?
They wanted their party to be the
Right.
one who did it.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Politics.
yeah, it was just, yeah. And my family on my dad's side is from the south side of Chicago. And so I got a bad taste for politics anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And,
yeah.
So you did put your foot in it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about lane splitting, because that is still a very hot topic right now. I mean, because I know at one point, I think you told me that they had passed something where we could go all the way to the left, the far left, like past the fast lane, and there was a bunch of, and you were like, well, no, because there's debris and everything there. That's not a safe place for motorcyclists to be.
Yeah.
But where is it now? Because I know I'm hearing a lot of different things. Like, can we, in stop and go traffic, can you go onto the shoulder and go slow if your vehicle?
Nope.
Can you go to either side? You can't go to either side?
Nope.
Okay. What is the ticket? If we do it, what's the ticket?
Yeah, I think it's like $120.
So it's cheaper than buying a new engine for my bike
Yeah.
if it's overheating. So
Yep.
big middle finger and
Yep.
keep rolling, right?
Oh, really? I mean, it was like we went the left hand shoulder
Mm-hmm.
part. That was a senator who agreed to do a lane splitting bill, and then he thought about it and he says, well, let's add this in instead. And I was like, why? There's parts of I-5 that doesn't even have
Right.
a left shoulder.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
So that doesn't help any.
Right.
Then a local representative from here in Lewis County brought out a bill that would allow you to do it on the right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And Washington State Patrol came up and said, oh, that's not safe because there's too much debris on. And one of the legislators in the committee goes, well, how come there's too much debris for the motorcyclists to be able to use it, but not for WSP motors to use it,
Right.
or other emergency vehicles? And he kind of hemmed and hawed. And then the next thing he said, well, if they get out there anyway and they're proceeding down the shoulder, and they come across a stalled vehicle, then they're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here because we'd already testified, and I'm going, so you just said that we're all too stupid to merge back into traffic. Yeah.
Right? So then you decided to take a run at having a position in the politics world. Tell us about what led you to make that decision. What was that decision, and everything? Like,
well, basically, it was after dealing with the legislature, I had gotten to the point where I don't like professional politicians. Like somebody comes in and, oh yeah, I'll be a city councilman for 1 term or 2 terms, and I'm gonna jump up to legislature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna jump up to senator. Now I'm gonna go,
Yeah.
No, if you're gonna do a job, do the job. And one of the representatives for here in the 20th district here in Lewis County and parts of Cowlitz County was retiring. So I said, okay, let's give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't expect a whole lot. And I ended up winning Cowlitz County and losing in Lewis County, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like, whoa, wait a minute, okay. But at that point, when I first said I was going to run,
Mm-hmm.
The House Republican chair said, "Yeah, you'd make a good legislator." And I'm going, okay. I know there's a but coming, but you're not saying it. But we'll see. I said, you've already got somebody else picked, and they did.
Right.
So
Yeah. So what happened with the Cowlitz County one? I mean,
well, it's part of the 20th district.
Okay.
But they count the votes by county. And I ended up winning, coming in first in Cowlitz County, and the guy who ended up winning overall came in third. And we got to Lewis County, and it just flipped.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah.
You know what? You tried, and I am really proud of you for doing that. I mean, when you told me that that's what you were doing, I wasn't surprised. You know, because I mean, back in, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. When did you use the conference room at my office?
Oh, that was
back in
2014,
13, 14, somewhere around there. Yeah. It's because it's been about 9-10 years. So yeah, about 10 years ago. So yeah. So yeah, it didn't surprise me. I mean, because you are so passionate. I mean, and you know your shit. you know. I mean, you pulled dates out and all this stuff, and I'm just like, I'm like, I have no idea.
No, that's because growing up as a little kid, like 3 years old, my mom's aunt was a first grade teacher up in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So she taught me to read when I was 3. And her husband taught me how to play chess. So
yeah,
I just had a couple of years head start on everybody and found out, hey, I kind of like this studying stuff, and looking and finding answers and stuff like that.
Yeah. See, and I thought you just knew bikes. Because I mean, you know, that's what I mean. Cause you still have Gypsy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll always have Gypsy. What else do you have? What else are you running?
Right now I've got a 2009 Road King Police.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw when I saw you at the intersection.
Probably.
Of
Mountain
High. Yeah, I was like, hey, that's Brian.
Yeah, and I'm looking across the way and I see the horns on the helmet.
And I'm over there. Hey, here I am.
We both had to go the other way.
Exactly, like, hey, pieces. But yeah, so no, I mean, because I know I've talked to a few other people in the motorcycle world, and you are a well-known name. I mean, I'm just like the Memorial Ride. I knew Lila knew you, but I didn't know that Michael had family members that knew you, that were, you know, partying with you that same night. And they're like, oh, we know Brian. I go, well, he's supposed to be here. But yeah, there's been other, well, and old Rowdy Berry, he's now over in Idaho, but he messaged me as soon as he knew that we were doing this. He's like, well, tell Brian hi for me,
Oh yeah, last time I think I sent him over a bunch, probably maybe dozen cigar boxes so he could make
Oh yeah, he
guitars out of
his guitars. Yeah, have you listened to his music?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then same with Jimmy. Up at Revival Coffee, Motors and Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Well, you posted a picture of some event of you guys up in camping or something, and I'm like, hey, that's Jimmy and Audrey.
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah. That would have probably been the Bastard Bash back
probably, yeah.
But over in Goldendale.
It's just crazy how like we'll post pictures or whatever, and the motorcycle community on this side of the mountains is really small, if you think about it, and it's even smaller if you're a female.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's just if we're in a motorcycle situation, I totally name drop you. you're that popular, you're that important. I'm like, hey, Brian, because if they don't, I don't want to know them. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's even if you get on the other side, it's growing.
Yeah, because you do a lot of events over there too with the A.B.A.T.E. So when's A.B.A.T.E spring opener, and where is it? Is it Cleolum again?
No, it hasn't been in Cleolum for.
Where was it this year? Or who was it last year?
It's been the last 3 years. It's been Cascade Peaks.
Oh, okay.
26 miles down the road here in Highway 12.
Okay. So yeah, that's how long we talk. Cause I'm like, well, that's in Cleolum, but.
Starts on the Thursday after Father's Day.
Okay.
That's the only way I can remember. It's the last full weekend in June.
In June, yeah. Okay.
And I know.
How does somebody get into that? Like, if they're interested in joining in a A.B.A.T.E branch or chapter, what is it? Is it? I might want to say the proper terminology.
Well, okay, you can either go online to abate-wa.org.
Okay.
And you can join right there.
Okay.
Don't ask me what the fees are this year, because
who knows?
Because I ended up with like a 5-year membership.
Right. Yeah.
And I quit paying attention to it. But if you become an A.B.A.T.E member, then you get a discount when you go to A.B.A.T state events, like Spring Opener, or they just had the big swap meet up in Monroe.
Right.
Or you can go right to the Spring Opener.
Yeah. And
pay, I think it's $60.
You can register right there.
Yeah, you can register right there. Or you can just go to the gate and pay just to get in and out of the
Right. So what are the benefits of being a A.B.A.T.E besides being passionate about the laws and regulations in the state of Washington, and obviously the fun events you guys got going on? Are there like discounts at certain merchants, or what? I mean,
yeah, there are. Usually though, it's one of those things that you got to find out from the merchant.
Okay.
That, you're an A.B.A.T member? Yeah, I'll give you 5% off.
Okay. Right.
But there's also a $4,000 accidental death or dismemberment insurance policy that you get absolutely free.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I mean, anything that's free, I'll take it.
Right? Especially nowadays, everything's getting so expensive. I mean, a tank of gas. I'm like, oh my gosh. And Washington's the worst. When I rode to Utah this past year, I'm like, it's cheap. Like, keep going. I'm like, okay, well, and because I always budget my fuel, for the price here. I'm like, okay, I know what I can pay, and I'm like, well, it's stretched out a little bit longer, but kind of got off the track there.
Yeah, no, it's like, speaking of the cash and the gas, I used to do an annual run, week-long run into eastern Washington, Idaho, and all we did was just for something to stop at. We were hitting all the Harley dealerships, and we had people joining up because what better landmark for a biker? Hey, we're going to be at the Harley dealership at about such and such a time, and we did that for like 3 or 4 years. But sometimes we'd come west into Spokane.
Mhm.
And people said, oh man, yeah, we gotta start looking for gas. I says, you got enough to go 30 more miles? Well, yeah. I said, okay, we're gonna go another 30 miles because it's gonna save you 50 cents a gallon.
Mhm.
Boom, we beat Pete.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some great places to ride, and when you're with A.B.A.T.E, it's nice because that little patch you get
Mhm.
is basically the same patch nationwide for all the different organizations. It just says what state.
Yep.
And it's kind of fun to sit there. You roll in someplace halfway across the country and you're at A.B.A.T.E, Washington. Oh, cool. You know,
It's a conversation startup, isn't it?
what are you guys doing this year? You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's like with the lane splitting. They're doing the same thing this year. They've been trying to do that. It was actually the original idea to legalize it here in Washington came from one of the Banditos.
Oh, well, that's a nice little tidbit fact there.
Yeah, he was actually the coordinator for the Spanaway chapter, the original coordinator.
Oh, wow.
So
Very cool.
he says, you know, are you thinking about doing this? I said, I love it. I used to do it when I used to lane split when I was in California. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because somebody I know, I was Denver on my other podcast. You know, he had asked me. He's like, "All right, did you lane split when you were down there?" And I was like, "I did." He's like, "Well, what did you think of it?" And I said, "You know, I think that people need to be educated about it first, the rider and the vehicle people or the drivers, because." You know, you do it up here. Drivers aren't looking for you. Down there, they are looking for you.
oh yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it's again, and down there they teach it. You know, and up here they don't. So it's one of those educate yourself before you do it.
Yep.
You know, you know. But yeah. So what? One other last tidbit that you would like plug for A.B.A.T.E? Like how would you recruit somebody? Like what would you tell them to get their interest?
If you can come up with any reason to go be interested, whether it's politics and grassroots organizations for legislation, if you just want to go on group rides, poker runs, whatever, if you want to go party with 1,500 of the closest friends you never knew you had, any of those you can do in A.B.A.T.E, and it's $30 a year for the first year. After that, it drops down, I think, to 25.
Oh my gosh, sign me up. How come you haven't signed me up after all these years?
We thought you were a member.
I've been a member of everything else,
But yeah, it's
because I think it's because I saw all the crap that you dealt with up on the hill and all the lobbying. I was like, no, thank you. I will support you, but I don't want to have anything to do with that.
And the cool thing about it too is they've got kind of confusing. They've got a lifetime membership, and then they have a dues for life membership. Well, they're, according to state bylaws, they're two separate things. The dues for life is $300. That's it. You never pay dues again.
Okay.
And yeah, it's 12 years. If you know you're going to be riding for another 12 years, do it.
Yeah, for $300.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony and I are getting signed up.
Yeah, go on abate-wa.org.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Thank you. You are just full of information. I tap into your brain all the time, don't I? I was hitting you.
And we haven't even gotten into any real riding stories.
No, we've only ridden together, I think, once or twice.
Yeah.
I think it has only been a couple of times because we both have just been so involved in our own little areas and people, and you know, we just keep missing each other and all those things. And I do owe you a ride. I know that for a fact.
Well, I'll tell you, have you ever gone to Spiral Highway in Lewiston?
Yes. But I would do it again. I only did it once. I would totally do it again.
Oh, we used to go and do it, and then we get to the top.
Yeah.
Turn around, and go back.
Yeah.
So we had to go back on the top.
Yeah.
Did it 1 year.
What's the one called going into Pendleton, coming from Idaho? Like it's very similar.
Oh, Cabbage.
I think it is cabbage.
Yeah.
Because it's almost the same thing coming in. That's what it reminded me of when I was doing that
But
one.
cabbage is a lot
But it was-
longer.
Yeah, it was very more flowing, more like Mount St. Helens Corners.
Yeah.
Very, very flowy and stuff.
Whereas Spiral Highway is the old main grade north of, between Lewiston and Moscow.
Yeah.
You know, one year we were coming back from Spokane, heading to Lewiston. We were going to spend the night in Lewiston.
Yeah.
And by the time we got to the top of the Spiral Highway, the sun was just on the horizon. And every time you turned west, you had the sun in your eyes until you were right at the apex of a corner, and then
Yeah.
the hill had blocked the sun, so you went from sun in your eyes to black, and you're going, oh man, where'd the road go? Where'd the road go?
Yep.
Oh, okay, I can see now. And then you whip around. Oh, that was probably the only time we ever went down that thing at the speed limit.
Wow.
Every other time we were like 20, 50 miles, you know.
Yeah.
Let's just do this.
Yeah. That's great. That's kind of how I feel about Highway 7 coming into the canyon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, those people need to get the hell out of my way.
Oh yeah, well, we're doing.
I mean, it's getting rougher every year. The road is, but I feel the same way every time I go up there. I'm like, oh, if I have to ride this with one hand, I am sitting back here yawning. I don't want it. I don't want to ride this.
You should try Highway 302.
Sounds familiar.
Between Key Center and Allen.
Oh yeah, I do that. I do that one too. That's the same
actually,
thing.
that was where
Yeah,
I
yeah.
learned how to ride, or where I learned how to drive. But
Well, I learned how to drive on the canyon. But hey, we're gonna leave it there. We're actually going to do a third segment since
Cool, that'll work.
since I finally have you available and we have time to do this. Yeah, we're totally gonna do that. I am gonna plug Kurt and Shiloh Rich though, because we are above Rivers Coffeehouse and Bistro here in Morton. Yeah,
they're really good coffee.
They have great coffee. They have vegan food. They have vegetarian food. They bring back coffee and they've done a lot of coffee research in Hawaii and they brought it to here. But we are in one of their Airbnbs, and this one is just the cutest little studio, and I'll put all that stuff in there. But they've got three other ones I think up here.
I think they've got 6 up here.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, because we are in number 6. So yeah, you guys have to check that out, and I'll take some pictures and show you how cute these places are. So if you are coming through Morton to go ski at White Pass, or you're going up to Mount Rainier through the Ohanabakash side, or just anywhere in this area, and need a place to stay, I would do this. This is a place I would stay. This is absolutely adorable.
No, definitely.
They've done a great job, because you remember when these were apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
And I can't remember whose apartment was. It was across the hall.
Yeah.
That was the only one. Oh, there was that one and one other one. I can't remember who was staying here, but.
No, these are really nice. They've done a great job. So
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Rivers Coffee House in Morton. Thank you, Kurt and Shiloh. Thank you. And thank you, Brian.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, we're gonna wrap this one up and head to number 3, third gear. We're gonna hit third gear, right?
Oh.
Okay.